Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I'm running a minute or two late here. I'm getting myself set up here, get my screen share up here in just a minute. As always, if you've got any questions, you can use raise hand. You can post your question in QA or just dump it right into the chat and I will call on you. So let me get my screen share up here. Blah, 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 excuse me. So share. All right, great. And I don't believe we have any pre-submitted questions for today, but let me double check that. That's from yesterday. I don't see any pre-submitted questions. So let me know what questions you have. I do see some new names in here. So if you haven't joined before, we we don't have any pre-prepared content, so we only answer the questions that you ask. So please let me know if you have any questions. Will, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Jen, I do have one question I'll post in the chat. Okay, sure. I can also just unmute you if you'd like to ask your question, whichever you prefer. In fact, I will allow you to speak. You can unmute yourself if you'd like, or just type it out in the chat. Whatever you prefer.
I think I will just post in the chat because
Sure
I already
thing.
I already have a ticket open. I think it's much more descriptive if I put information in the chat, so you can
Absolutely. Sure thing.
Thanks. I just posted the question in the chat.
Okay.
So this is just basically one of our, because we are early like adopter with decisions in our company. So we're still learning this platform. So basically we want to have decisions as like a rule engine where we can have our external services. Like we have a bunch of external services deployed in the open cloud to make service calls to decisions like flow endpoint to receive some decisions, whether it's suppressed, whether it's like good, or whether it's the data is based on some business decisions, whatever this is flow we want to design. So currently I have something set up in the dev environment. I have like a simple test flow. My question is, how do I send like the JSON payload to this decision flow? Because this can be invoked from like any third-party clients like Postman. I think the documentation talks about some of the like creating custom data types using JSON schema, but I'm not sure how I can just to configure the flow to receive some like data flow.
Yeah, no, great question.
I can.
Yeah, we can definitely, I think we can really help clarify that for you pretty easily.
Okay.
So ultimately, like each flow is or can be a little like a little API, right? You can almost create like a little bit of a microservice architecture here, even though everything happens to be hosted together, so it's not separate. But let's see, what's today's date? 8/8. All right, just create a folder here to work with. And so here's the flow that I'm going to make. Now let's assume I had a JSON type. So I come, I know the JSON payload. So I'll create a type from JSON. And I'll just
Yeah.
name this thing JSON test one. And then this is like some JSON, right?
Okay.
So this is like, property one, if I can spell property one, right? And it'll be stuff. And assuming I can write some decent JSON here, this will be property two. And this is more stuff, right? And then that's valid JSON. So let's assume that this is the JSON, your Lambda function for your question that this third-party service is going to send back, right?
Sure.
Or it's going to send a decision. So
yes,
I can create that type. This is ultimately just a shorthand or like an easy way for me to turn JSON into data types.
Okay.
Ultimately, you'll see what I get here is this JSON data structure or the simple flow. And if I edit this thing, it's got property one and property two. It's got the properties of the JSON object. So now I'm going to build a flow to consume that. So I'll build this. I'll come create a flow. And what I'm going to do here is go to I click the start step and I go to flow input data.
Okay.
This is kind of, I'm not yet trained myself, or I come here and I set up input data, right? I'm going to say, this is the data the flow is going to take in, right? And then I'm just going to I'll call this thing input data. I can call it whatever I want. And then I'm going to search for JSON here. I'm going to find JSON test one. And I'm going to create this, right?
Yep.
And then what I can do is build a flow that does anything I want. Whatever the flow is going to do, it's going to do here, right? And then I can save this. And then what I'm going to do is come to the top here, and I'm going to allow this flow to be called as an integration. Right now, it can't be called. I'm going to change this from none to API service. If there's really API service or user interface, webhook is going away. API service, and then I get this view button. And then I can click view. And now in view, it's going to show me a representation of this flow. So here I can see, here's how I can call it via get or post. And so here, like here's the endpoint that I can call to make that. And then here's a representation of what the body of that request needs to look like.
Okay, got it.
And so if you can control the output format of the request, then this is the best way to do it because it's very simple. Now what you get in the flow, if I were to look at Data Explorer, is I get a thing called input data, JSON test one, and it's got my properties. And now I can just map those around. So I could put them into a show pop-up step, right? I could map it into the subject, input data, property one. Right?
Okay, cool.
It's a fully like a .NET object at that point that I can use to map with. Go ahead. You're going to ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think I did dig into that, but I didn't like select the type from the when you define the user input data when you select, because I didn't realize I can select the type. So yes, that's good. Yeah. The other question is whenever I have this flow gets invoked by a say the client Lambda, is there any? Because I know we have like a debug. We can see how the data gets traversed from end to the start, from start to the end. Is there any like logging or traceability I can look at the data like input and output?
Not by default. What you're going to want to do is either use log steps if you want to log it to the log, or create a custom data type to store that data. So you'd create something like a simple database structure, and then you'd save that at the appropriate spot in the flow so that you could look at the input data or something like that. What the workflow engine tracks like flow step runs, which is not really helpful information, like how many show pop-up steps were hit. That's not really helpful. And it counts like the number of flows that were executed. It gives you very high level information about flow executions. It doesn't let you look at a particular flow's execution and inspect it. But you can code that up in the design of the flow using data structures and then mapping those data structures or log steps at the appropriate points in your flow. Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely we will try that.
Okay.
Yes, it's helpful. Yep.
You bet. Happy to help.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks. Yeah.
You're very welcome. All right, Murray, what do we have for you today?
Okay, I have a very simple question that I readily share. I haven't looked into very hard. So I have a dashboard report that I'm going to create.
Okay.
And I need two different views of it. One, if you are one of the people who is able to create one, so let's say it's a salesperson. Each salesperson will only be able to see their own items. And then there should
Okay.
be a version, if you will, where they're the head of sales can see everyone's. What I want to know, I can limit, I can use a filter and say, you know, the case was started by this user, show it to them. But what I want to know is, can I use that same report for both pages, or do I have to create two different copies?
Okay. So the first one is what are the two scenarios again?
So it's the same data. So I want to see
Uh-huh.
like sales that are, you know, in the pipeline, let's say.
Right.
So I have the salesperson. So if
Mhm.
you, Will, are one of the salespeople, you can only see your stuff. I can
Mhm.
only see my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Heath is the manager. He should be able to see both sets.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to know is there some way I can use a filter to use the same report, or do I have to create two different copies of the report?
Yeah, you can use a filter, but it's not performant. So I would say, even though it's not
Okay.
ideal, I would create two copies of the report. And then have the two
Okay.
before. That's going to be the more performant option there for you.
Okay, that's exactly what I needed to know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there you are.
Thanks.
All right, Vlad, I think we had a question from you yesterday, sir. I'll give you the opportunity to come off mute if you want. Let me dig your question out, assuming it's still relevant.
Hello there.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. The problem is that I need to get the data from the table to decision,
Mm-hmm.
the currencies, and then I'm just thinking we will receive some payload from the Jira with the details.
Okay.
And after that, I need to compare the value from the amount and then convert it to the dollars. So the received amount used to be from a different currency.
So like you have a table that has different rows in it that are different currencies, and you need to identify the right currency and multiply or do the right math operation against the value to convert it from that currency into dollars or something.
So for example, I've received the amount in euros and I need to convert it to the dollars.
Okay.
And send it back with the rest of the stuff.
Where does that currency like number come from? Like, how do you access like the conversion number for euros to dollars today?
Is an external database, and this is what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
I have found that someone already created the connection
Okay.
to the database, but I'm thinking I need to contact someone and I need to somehow query it because I don't know the schema and all the name of the table.
Okay.
But if you can show me, if you can show me,
yeah, sure. I think we can do something here. So, like, let's assume I have some connections already, right? I'm just going to use my local connection. But if I come to system integrations, databases, you can see all of the connections folders that I've created here, right? And so inside of a connection folder, you can create connections. These are tables, these are queries, these are views, these are relationships. These are the actual like steps or the tables or the integrations themselves. This is a folder that holds everything, and these are the contents. So I have these are where the connections live at. But let's assume I need to create a table integration. I'll come here, create data types, database integration, and I'm going to add a table. I'm just going to do this on my local connection. I'd either select an existing, and if your connection already exists, you can just select it from the list down here, or create a new one. And then I'm going to come find the table I care about. I'm just going to find the entity account table.
Okay, but I didn't. Oh, okay.
Right, and this is going to show me all the tables that are in that database that the connection is a part of. I'll click next. It's gonna prompt me to select the fields I care about, identify the keys. If it can't identify them, I click next. And it's gonna give me steps here to generate. Now, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a table integration here.
Okay, I see. Let me. So I will create the table, and this is how I'm gonna fetch the data over here.
Yeah, this is, you now have an integration against the table, right? But now what you probably want to do, if you, now one thing you could do, if you already know, is you could come back here and you could just add a query. If you already have queries to run, you could just come in here and do what I just did, but just write a query. So I'll just say select star from entity account.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but this is where I ended up because I didn't know the table name.
Sure.
So is there any chance to see the database structure or something like
Yeah.
what's the
Wait,
name of
yeah.
the tables?
Yeah, what you could do is try using the query editor here. So if I right click on a designer folder, go to other query editor, what you'll see here, top right-hand corner is I have different connections listed. And then what this will show me is the tables that are in that connection. And so then I could actually explore that table in this view, and then I can get some shorthands for, you know, generating select queries and things of that nature.
Excellent. Could you show me again? How did you get there?
Yeah, right click on a designer folder specifically,
Okay.
which is what has this pin icon on it. And then you're going to go to other query editor. And then you probably will need to come here to your connection and change the connection. Because local connection is the decisions database, probably not what you're looking for here.
Yeah, so I already have someone created a connection. So, and I tested it and it looks fine. So let me go to the decision. Okay, so here I will close it. Everything. Let's go to the design folder. And 1 second. So I will click on the and
And for other query editor.
open. Oh, I have open column. Other. Okay, other. Open query editor. Yeah, and this is gonna be broad exchange rates. The selected database connection has not been established. Please check logs for more details.
Are you getting an error?
It said that the connection wasn't established.
Yeah, you might want to check your connection string then. If you come to system integrations, databases, find your connection folder, you can right click it and there's an edit action. You can confirm that you have the right connection string. If you have the right connection string and it's not working, then you might need to work with our support team or your internal support team to ensure you can connect between those two servers.
So it's okay. System. 1 second. I'm still learning where to find all these things. The system integration.
Yep.
Databases.
Yep.
That's the broad exchange. And okay, how should I check the connection?
You right click your folder, edit database definition.
Then
you'll see the connection string here.
Create connection, manage. So I'm clicking on databases. Sorry, it's taking me. Let's go again. So you lock the local connection. Okay. Add procedure, manage. To view. Please, one more time, I will make a print screen. Just can you close that edit button? And I have some different. I'm in Decision Studio and click on the right and
I'm sorry.
could you please? I see add the query test connection.
Yeah, you want to be back in the folders here on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
And then you'd go to a folder, other query editor.
Mhm. No, that okay. The step before, because I'm in setting now in the system.
Mhm.
I have databases over there.
Okay,
Yeah, and I need to click on the database or local connection.
you click on one of the folders underneath databases here. All these folders, external data connector, innovation tests, these are all external connections. Oracle test 1, R9M, MSS SQL. If I
Mhm.
click on one of these, once it I don't know why it's taking a moment here. It should prompt me with the ability to edit that connection string.
Edit data definition.
Yeah, exactly. Edit database definition.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And how could I test it? That particular connection?
Then you could just come back to the folders here, right? And try the query editor action again
Mm-hmm.
and see if you can't connect to it. There's also a test connection action in that dialog you were just on.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the actions. If you look at on my screen, you see there's a test connection action there.
Okay, let me open.
Marie, do you have another question for us?
No, that's okay for now. I will try to, because what I'm seeing over here, it's when I click I don't have the folder data. There is nothing in the folder data.
That just means that you don't have any connections for that folder, for that connection, that database connection yet.
Mhm.
That's not unexpected. I have added queries and tables and other things into that folder connection that you see on my screen.
Mhm. So I will just add the table and I will try to, or edit with the. Mhm. I have the query. Error running step, get schema name, connection string, flow snowflake. Exception invoking method, okay. So there's probably something with the connection, with the string.
It's either there's an issue with your connection string, maybe the account you're using doesn't have permissions, the account in the connection string, or it's some sort of security relationship between the decisions application server and your database. So if you
Mhm.
need help with that, our support team can help you troubleshoot why you can't connect.
Oh, that's fine. I will wait for my architect and he will show me what to do.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right. Anybody else have any questions for us today?
Yeah, may I share? It is possible to share my screen?
Unfortunately not,
Okay.
because we record these and sometimes we get private information shared.
Yeah, copy. Yeah, understood. Because I have that folder and nothing's in that folder. But when I'm pressing the folder, like you have a lot, for example, the Oracle, there's one
Okay.
over there.
hmm
Yeah, this one is empty. This means that we don't have a proper connection established.
Or that you just haven't created anything yet. Like I
Mhm.
could create a new one here. I'll just keep it as my local connection.
Mhm,
And then my server name should be local.
mhm,
My database name is March 23, I think. And then I'll
Mhm.
put in my password.
mhm.
All right, there we go. So I'm going to create a new folder here, right?
Mhm.
See here, come on. There you go. There's new connection. It won't have anything in it. At the
Mm.
top though, or I could, or so the same action. So I can add a table or a view. I can add a procedure or add a query. When I add
Okay.
that, it'll show up in this folder.
Okay, let's pretend that I have I will want to add a table
hmm
and is there any chance to see what is in the database? But I need to go, or I need to go back to the previous screen.
I'm sorry, can you ask that again, please?
Yeah, you showed me that database studio where there was all those tables listed, or how should I call that, or the database view when you can check all those tables.
Yeah, so yeah, if you're in a normal folder,
Mhm,
let me go back to the folder I created today. You would come to create data types integration,
mhm,
database integration,
mhm,
add table.
mhm,
You then select your connection. I'll select the new connection I just created and click
mhm,
next. And then if you're, then it'll give you a list of all the tables in that connection.
mhm. Okay,
You
let
can
me.
then select that, you can select that connection. So
Mhm.
select that table.
Okay, 1 second. Fancy converter. I've created, but I don't have a. So create data integration, database, add table. And I will use that exchange rate. I will press next. And I got error. Okay. That's when I press the test connection, it says status success.
Oh, great. Then then see if you can add a table integration, given what I just showed on the screen.
And then I'm getting error running step get schema name from the connection string.
Hmm.
From connection string and flow snowflake expression invoking method get value from connection string or plus connection string step.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure how much I can help on that particular troubleshooting on this call, but our support team can help you with that if you'd like to file a support ticket.
I will ask our data team if the string is correct.
Sure thing.
Maybe I don't have access right. If from my ID. Okay. First of all, I will try to investigate on my side, and then I will start annoying someone else.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
you're very welcome.
So then once I will be able to fetch the table, this table will be updated on every time that the process will be triggered.
It's a live connection to the table. So if you were coming to a flow and you're coming to integration, and we do record these, Vlad, so you can watch some of this after if you want to see again.
Yeah.
Database, and now you'll see new connection here,
Uh-huh.
right? But let me do my local connection. This is the connection we just created. So here's local connection. And then inside of local connection, you'll see our tables. These are tables here. So I can open up a table, and these are all the steps I'll be given to interact with that table. So I could
Mhm.
get all or get by ID.
Mhm.
Or I can even create custom fetch steps. I can insert or bulk insert. And so when decisions runs, it's gonna run. And it's gonna, like in this example, get all the records from that table and return them into the flow for your use.
Mhm.
Right, and then you can look at that in the debugger and see all the, currency conversion records that might get returned.
Mhm. Okay, excellent. Okay, good. Okay, so tomorrow I will investigate what's the problem with the connection, and if I need some special ID, and yeah, then I will. What is that? Is there any problem if I will create that currency converter somewhere else in the flow, and I want to use it in different application because I want to play with that cache converter separately, and then I would like to incorporate that in the other application that we already have built. It is possible, yeah, to find somewhere that cache converter and use it in different project.
I'm not sure I followed that exactly. Could you re-ask? What's the question there?
Yeah, the question is, I will create. I wanna create that currency converter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to interfere with the project that we already have built.
Mm-hmm.
And if I will create the flow and all these things separately somewhere else in different project, then I wanna move that and implement that in another project.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mhm.
No problem. Just create yourself a folder to work in on dev. You
Mhm.
just come and you have a separate folder to work in. You shouldn't create any issues if you are working separately. Just
Mhm.
come, you can just hit plus here, create a
Mhm.
designer project,
Mhm.
create it at root or not, that's up to you, and then name it, and then you'll get a folder that you can work in.
Okay, excellent. And then I will just call it from yeah. Okay, I understood. Sorry. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you bet.
So that's all from my side for
Okay.
now.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for us today? Okay. We'll go ahead and call it an afternoon. If no one has any additional questions.
Mhm. Okay, seems to be mission accomplished for today.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, wonderful. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. You got Jared and Eric here tomorrow and Thursday.
Mhm. How will I get that record?
The recording is going to be on our, let me put this for you. Great question. That's on our support YouTube page. I'll send you a link here for it. Here we upload these. It should be uploaded after this afternoon. I just put the link into the chat there. That's our decision support YouTube page.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, you bet. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a nice evening. Bye.